Hi, this is Jared VV. I trade with Bear Bull Traders in the mornings. I've been a lifetime member with Bear Bull Traders for about a year and a half now, maybe even coming up on 2 years. Bear Bull Traders really taught me to trade. Uh, I'm not a great trader. Trading is hard. Andrew will tell you trading is hard. Everybody at Bear Bull Traders will tell you trading is hard. Nobody's uh, I'm telling you, you're going to be a multi-millionaire overnight at Bear Bull Traders, but they are providing you with a ton of fantastic educational tools and videos and a lot of help. It really seems like when you become part of that community, even when you're not part of the community, they're reaching out to people on YouTube and they've got a lot of educational resources that I don't even think you have to be part of the community to access. But it really seems like when you're part of the community that they really want to help you there. And so I highly encourage anybody that needs help learning to trade, and God knows we all need help because it's hard. Um, to look into Bear Bull Traders, they're a bunch of good fellows, and they're really it really seems like they want to help you and they like helping people. So enough of that. I just wanted to share this trade, this AMAT trade that I took this morning. The reason I wanted to share it is it emphasizes the importance of levels. Bear Bull Traders um, emphasizes finding levels before you begin trading for the day. They teach you to find levels, and you use those levels to get good entries, and you use your levels as targets and places to add or take off parts of your positions. The levels are very important. So what I've learned to do from Bear Bull Traders is I sit down about an hour and a half before the market opens, and I make a plan for 6 to 12 different stocks. I find all the levels and 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 decide what I'm going to do if these stocks reach these levels, reach levels beyond those levels, and write out a plan, a detailed plan for each one of the stocks I'm going to trade. Um, I also like the alert function in DOS. Um, that way, I don't need to be watching all these stocks. I simply need to set alerts before these levels that will notify me when the stocks are approaching levels and getting ready to breach these levels. And so it's a very efficient way I've found to watch without watching, a dozen stocks every morning, and I'm able to pay attention, really focus on two or three, while the computer and the DOS program is watching the rest for me. So that's how I trade. I make plans and set alerts. So I sat down about an hour and a half before the market opened and saw that AMAT was on our gappers list, which is our list of stocks that are in play, stocks that have catalyst and high volume. And Applied Materials, AMAT, was on this list. And right when I sat down, I noticed it made this big wiki candle that hit $67 and wicked right back down and continued in its funky little range right here. So I looked backwards and I noticed that, let me get rid of these lines here for now. I noticed that right back here there were these two gap ups that weren't even really candles, but they stopped exactly at 67 also. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put a level in right there, and if AMAT breaches that level, um, I'm going to take a long on it because AMAT had earnings, beat earnings, and had raised their guidance, so they had positive news. So I expected it to go long, to go up. I was long biased on the stock, so I made a plan to trade it to the high of the day. It was also the high of the day was also very close to the all-time high, if not the all-time high. So I made a plan to trade it to the high of the day and perhaps further if level two indicated that the momentum was going to stay in the stock. Um, and that was my pretty basic plan. I also put in a level later on. I put in a level right here, right before the market opened, because I was looking for a level in between the high of the pre-market right here and this level I had down here. So I put that level in there. So let's see how interesting the power of levels is. Andrew always says they're magic. So I was hoping the stock would not breach 67 until the market opened. However, it did. So I kind of just wrote it off kind of in my mind. I thought, okay, I may or may not trade that. I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to trade it in the pre-market. Um, so I'll just get back to it before the market opens. So the market was getting ready to open, and I looked over at AMAT, and lo and behold, we have one time it hit 67 here, two times, two or three times here. So let's just call it three times total there. It hit 67. Then we've got it coming down, bouncing off 67 exactly. Right here, bouncing off 60, hitting 67 exactly. Right here, bouncing off 67, hitting 67 exactly, dropping below. The top of this candle is at 67. The next candle right here, the top is exactly at 67. So I saw that, and I immediately moved it to my secondary screen to watch more carefully, because that level was looking very promising. Um, because I was long biased, I had not made a plan to trade this stock short. I should probably make plans to trade them short as well as long, because you never know what's going to happen. Even if they've got good earnings, you just don't know. However, I had only planned to trade it long, so I didn't take it short when it sold off at the open. Popped back up, stopped again. These two candles stopped pretty close to the 67 level, and this one went through the 67 level with its wick. However, it was moving so fast and it was so wicky, I didn't feel comfortable taking a position, even though it had breached 67. So I just continued to watch it, as well as a few other stocks, and it dropped back down with a huge wick, and then a huge red candle here, and then it dojied out a bit there, and I thought, okay, maybe it's done. And then it began working its way up in a more controlled fashion, slightly more controlled, and bam, hit 67 again right here. So now it's hit 67 8 or 10 times. I'm like, wow, that is a level for sure. So right here, when it wicked through 67, I took my position, and immediately wondered, when it pulled back to this candle, if I should stay in, get out of half my position, my stop being VWAP, the break of VWAP, or maybe get out of my whole position. You get nervous with these pullbacks. That's the nature of trading. But then I looked at my level 2, and I saw that there was a large ask at 67 and another large ask at 67.20. So that made me feel pretty good about my position. So I held on to it, and you can see here that it steadily climbed right back up. It broke 67, and when it hit 67.20, where that big ask was, I took my first partial, 25% or so. I had also put in this level right here, and when it approached that level and was right in between that level or so, and 67.20, pretty closer to that level anyway, I took another 25% partial. And then I was watching this high of the pre-market for my next partial. This right here was a mistake. It was a nervous partial. I was watching this for my next partial. I was happy with how the trade was going, and I don't know why I took another partial that early. That was dumb. Won't beat myself up. So it goes up. It breaks through 67. 67.68. That was the high of the pre-market. Goes through, breaks through, wicks up, and I'm watching the level 2, and I noticed that on the level 2, pretty much balanced out. There was no big bids or asks indicating that it may run one way or another. It was pretty close to all-time high, if not an all-time high. So I took off another 10%. So right about here, I'm down to about 10% of my position. When this candle started going red and the level 2 was balanced, I took off another 10 or 15%. I was down to about 10%. So then it ran down a bit, and bam, on this candle, it hit 67.40, this level right here that I put in, and exactly hits it and stops and wicks back up. Then this next candle stops exactly at 67.40. Also, we've got this moving average that's running through at the same time, giving me twice the resistance. So I thought, I was thinking when we were coming, when when we got this doji and I was getting this big red candle. I was thinking I might just get out of the position, but when I saw 67.40 get respected, and this moving average coming through, and it got respected too, and then the third time, and then on the fourth time, I got another big doji indicating exhaustion with this downward move. I not only didn't want to get out of the position, but I decided to add to the position. So I added in and waited and watched as the stock roughly rode this moving average all the way up, back through the high of the pre-market um, to exactly the previous high of the day, where I was watching level 2 like a hawk again, and saw once again that level 2 balanced out. There was no imbalance really to speak of, right here at 67.83ish or so. So I took off the added on position and was left with only 10%. The next candle was a big red candle, and although I was watching level 2, and although there weren't any huge bids, the bids did look like they were outweighing the asks. So, and I only had 10% left, so I took that last 10% off. A fairly decent trade, I would say. I think I made 3 or 4 mistakes, or could have done 3 or 4 things better. I if I was to go back and do things better, I probably would have added at this level instead of taking this partial, and I definitely would not have taken this partial. Also, I may have held some of the position. You can see if you come down here that AMAT went all the way up to 69.50. So there was potential to catch Applied Materials for a way bigger move if I would have held it a lot longer. I'm usually done with my trading by 10 or 10:30. So that's my excuse why I didn't hold it longer. But some of my heroes like Thor, Young, probably would have held it all the way through that big move right there, and that's something I'm thinking I need to work on in the future. So other than all those things, I think it was a pretty good trade, and I'm grateful to Bear Bull Traders for teaching me about levels and the importance of levels, and teaching me to make simple trades like this. And even though they're simple, teaching me the basics, because even making a simple trade like this is pretty hard. Trading is hard. So thank you, Bear Bull Traders. I encourage anybody that needs help, and we all need help, to look into Bear Bull Traders. Thanks. I hope this was interesting, and maybe I'll make another one someday.